Ryan hiked 6 miles off trail, seeking total silence. By the third night, he realized the woods weren't silence. They were listening. It started small. On Tuesday, Ryan dropped his hatchet. Clink. 3 seconds later, from the pitch-black tree line came an identical clink. There was no rocks out there, just soft pine needles. On Wednesday, Ryan stood up to stretch. His knees popped in the cold air. Ouch. Pop, pop. From the bushes behind him, through dry branches snapped. He scrambled into the tent. He grabbed his bear mace. Then he heard it, a heavy exhale right across the nylon. And then the unmistakable sound of a zipper sliding up and down. Ryan tried to hike at dawn, but the woods had changed. The trail markers were gone. By sunset, he was right back at his original campsite. He sat by the fire, exhausted and hollow. "I want to go home," he whispered. "I should have never came here. I'm a freaking idiot." The silence didn't just break. It shattered from the north, a voice identical to his own whispered back, "Want to go home?" Then from the south, louder, "I want to go home." From the east and west, a dozen Ryans began to chant. Some were weeping, some were screaming, but all of them were in Ryan's voice. The force wasn't just holding him captive, it was rehearsing his soul. "Get the heck out of there." Ryan didn't wait for the voices to finish. He scrambled to his feet, kicked dirt over the embers, and bolted into the tree line. He ran blindly, branches whipping his face and tearing his jacket. Oh, that was a nice jacket. But the woods weren't just gonna let him leave. They were tracking him. Every time Ryan's left boot hit the ground, a heavy thump echoed from the bush to his left. When his right boot hit, a thump came from the right. It wasn't just an echo. It was a heartbeat perfect match. Ryan began to wheeze, his lungs burning in the thin mountain air. Ryan gasped and huffed and gasped more. He tripped and went down hard. He fell into a dry creek bed, his headlamp flickering as he slammed into rocks. He laid there, gasping, his vision swift. The silence returned. And then he heard the sound of sliding shade from the top of the ridge. He just fell and fell. Ryan rode onto his back, aimed his fading light upward. A pair of hiking boots stood at the edge of the ravine. They were caked in the same red mud as his. They were the same exact brand. Ryan followed the legs up to the torso, then the face. He expected a monster, but he saw himself. The other Ryan stood there. The proportions were wrong. His arms reached down past his knees. Its skin looked like wet paper, stretched over bone. Its eyes didn't reflect the light. The creature tilted his head at the same angle Ryan was holding his. It didn't speak with its mouth open. It opened its throat, and Ryan's voice came out, flat and hollow. "I found a trail, Ryan." As the creature spoke, Ryan felt a cold, numbing sensation creep up his legs. He looks down and realizes his own skin was turning dull, a translucent gray. His fingers were fading. He wasn't just being hunted, he was being deleted. Ryan realized the creature wasn't just mimicking its sound, it was tethering his identity. If it was stealing his self, he had to become someone or something else. As the other Ryan stepped into the ravine, its long gray fingers reached out. Ryan didn't scream. It didn't even move. He reached into his pack. He pulled out a high visibility emergency vest, a heavy-duty air horn he kept for bears. He remembered a trick from an old friend. Ryan ripped off his mud-caked jacket, revealing a bright blue base layer. He smeared sunblock across his eyes like a mask. Instead of breathing heavy, he began to hum a tune he made up on the spot. The creature froze. Its face began to ripple. The skin bubbling as it struggled to mirror new colors. It let out a distorted scream, a sound Ryan had never made. While the creature was trying to calculate the new data, Ryan didn't run south. He ran up the rock face of the ravine, using his horn to drown out the sound of his own climbing. Blast, blast, blast. The creature down in the ditch began to shrivel. Its Ryan features melted into a featureless gray sludge. It couldn't mimic the mechanical, the 120 decibel roar of the horn. Ryan didn't stop until the trees began to thin and the smell of pine was replaced by the faint, beautiful scent of diesel and wood smoke. He bursted out the tree line onto a paved road. Just as a local sheriff cruiser was passing, he collapsed onto the asphalt, the cold yellow lines of the road feeling like the most solid thing in the universe. The sheriff helped him back into the back seat. "You look like you've seen a ghost, son," the officer said. Handing him a bottle of water, Ryan took a sip, his hands finally steady. "I'm fine," he said. I lost my way." The sheriff nodded and started the engine. "Happens to the best of us. What's your name for the report?" Ryan opened up his mouth to say his name, but his throat felt like it was filled with wet sand. He looked into the rearview mirror. His reflection was there, but his eyes didn't reflect the dashboard lights. They just absorbed them like charcoal. Behind him in the dark woods, he just escaped. A voice whispered from the floorboards, "My name is Ryan."